What's up? Uh, hey, don't worry about being late. I'm probably not going to take the whole time. I have not much to say. I haven't worked on any toys for a while, so.
Oh, stop it. That's how you start an interview? No, you start the interview like I'm Manny fucking X Romero, dude.
That's what's up.
How's everything?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, having a good show. So let's just talk about how you started out in the resin scene, what your influences were,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
where that came from.
Resin scene. I think I started doing customs first. So I started doing a bunch of like Dunny customs and Bud customs.
Mm-hmm.
And then that slowly like led me to the resin world. I just figured that'd be a lot easier to make one sculpt, cast it and paint it versus like sculpting each one every single time.
Right.
My influences, fuck. I mean, Motorbot. Motorbot's a shit. Motorbot, I think, was like the first person that I started collecting resin from.
Wow.
I'm super sad that he hasn't worked on anything in a while. Of course, Scott Wilkowski is freaking dope. I love Drill One. I love, there's a bunch of artists out there that I really like and admire and kind of emulate a little bit. But yeah.
So I think before we were talking to Skip Bro, and I was telling him how he's one of the artists, at least with Star Wars bootlegs, that sort of like pushed me over the edge to being like a Sucklord only collector. And I think you're the one that pushed me into collecting Simpsons. And it sort of like hasn't stopped ever since, because when I saw your work, I just couldn't stop. You just kept putting out Simpsons, and every single one was like it, because as a collectors make rules. We decide like, I'm going to collect every single one of these that has the kind of tab that goes like, it's like whatever it is.
Yep.
And then we sort of stick to these rules to make, collecting feasible, because you can't own everything. You say like, I just want the first release of this and, whatever.
Yep.
And, Simpsons meant a lot to me growing up. I still watch The Simpsons, even though most of my contemporaries have sort of like drifted away, ever since I've. So I guess let's just start with, were the Simpsons figures that you released, were those the first resin editions, like edition multiples that you ever made, or was there something before that?
I think, shit, that's a really good question. I don't remember. No, actually, I had a whole series of like these really cute gummy bears. So we would do it was a collaboration between me and a street artist named Crummy Gummy. He does mostly wheat paste and stickers and stuff. I found one of his stickers in LA one time. I thought it was hilarious. I hit him up on Instagram, and then we started working together. So we did a whole series of them. And so like how I don't have any of the original ones, but I do have.
I love it when artists come prepared for show and tell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any of the original ones, but yeah, we used to do like 2 quote unquote flavors a month, and they were always like really ridiculous flavors, like capitalist spirit for Christmas, and like just really ridiculous flavors. But this is one of the customs that somebody did for DKECON 2013.
Nice.
I forgot who the artist is, but it's really cool. I bought it myself. But yeah, this was the original figure that we did, and then we had like clear glitter embedded stuff in it, and then it did okay. Like we had like a whole little fan base that people collected it, but it wasn't until The Simpsons that I really started doing a shit ton of like multiples, just because I think the biggest run we had of those was probably, I don't know, like 20, 25. They're like made to order, so we didn't make too many or not enough. But yeah, The Simpsons, like there's just some of them that just, I made like 100, 110 sometimes.
Yeah, those were crazy. So tell me, so you worked on those bears, and then what was the first Simpsons? Was the first Simpsons a collaboration with that other guy, like the bootleg Bart, or did that come later?
That was the first one, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I originally it was only supposed to be 10,
Mhm.
and then like it sold out within like 10 seconds or something ridiculous like that. So we
Right.
decided to open it up, and then we hit like 100 within half an hour. And like I stopped it there because I couldn't. Like I think at that point I had only made like 15 max of anything.
Right.
I'm like I just said pull the plug. I can't do more than 100. And it took me a long time to try to get like the cadence down, like having multiple molds,
Mhm.
pouring them a certain way, like masking them a certain way, painting them a certain way. But yeah, that first run took so long. Yeah, it was a lot of work. But yeah,
But it made kind of stir, like, because the bootleg Bart guy's not on Instagram anymore. I think they came after him or something happened, but it was kind of amazing for a while. Like, did he collect T-shirts? What was it? Like he just said he's got like 10,000 bootleg Bart Simpson T-shirts, and he would just
yeah.
post a new one like every day. It's like
I'm
Rastafarian Bart, Michael Jordan Bart. It was just like it was like some high school, alumni class of something of this with Bart, and it was like, uh,
Yeah, I think he was a collector. I didn't honestly didn't really talk to him much before we put it out, and I didn't
mhm,
talk to him much after. So we didn't really get to like work on much.
mhm,
But yeah, I mean, from my understanding, he was a collector. He's been
mhm,
around for a little bit. He wanted to do like a book about
mhm,
all these bootleg T-shirts,
mhm.
bootleg bar T-shirts. And then like we just kind of like went our separate ways after like I
Got it.
delivered all of them. So
So then after that, you sort of embarked on this, you know, this plan of like Simpsons world domination, and you just sort of like how many? Do you know how many different Bart figures you made
shit,
or
I don't even.
Simpsons?
I
I mean,
have
as far as different, was it 20, 25, 30? Like, and then you started collaborating with different artists, and it was like you started doing your own like artist series. It's just sort of like it was insane.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that was the whole idea to begin with. I just wanted to work with a bunch of people. Like I love collaborating. I think doing stuff on my own is a little daunting sometimes just because there's like the promotion aspect, there's the like physically making the figure, painting the figure, packaging. It's just a shit ton of work that I think a
Mhm,
lot of people that aren't bootleggers or creators, they just
mhm,
don't realize sometimes, and it was a ton of work. So I just figured it'd be fun to collaborate with different artists that I really liked, and I think I think we did like maybe 2 or 3 different artist series, and each one probably had about 4 or 5 different artists, and some of them are multiples. Like we did multiple,
mhm.
BS Dune. We did multiple, multiple of the same figures. So
And so you yourself as an artist and a creator, like have you been an artist your entire life? Like when did you start?
yeah, yeah. I wanted to since I was a kid. I mean, I would draw like Sonic the Hedgehog, Donkey Kong, like the Punisher, like different shit for like me and my friends. I think at one point me and my friends wanted to do like a comic book. Yeah, like ever since I remember, I love drawing. I originally wanted to go to be a fine artist.
Mhm.
I did that for like a year, and then I just realized that I'm probably not going to pay my bills this way. So I went from fine artist to graphic designer.
Mm. And so, was this the first time you had were the resin bears? Was that the first time you done something like creatively to try and make a living at it, or to try and like monetize that, or were you a graphic designer before that?
No, I was a graphic designer like meanwhile. Like I
Uh-huh.
think that's what really helped me get through school. I was only working part time, and I really needed like a side gig to help me pay the bills.
Uh-huh.
And then the I think it was the Bears. I did some custom works, like some like series of 5 or whatever before that.
Mhm.
I bootlegged a dummy, which I don't think I have anymore. But yeah, I bootlegged the dunny. Um, and then it was the Bears. Oh, shit, I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I mean, I think I did a few different projects,
Mhm.
and I did it to really try to pay the bills, which it worked for a little bit, but again, and it was so much work that I felt like at the end it wasn't really feasible for me to keep doing that.
Got it. And so, why Bart? What does Bart and the Simpsons mean to you?
I think, growing up, I always wanted to be Bart because I thought he was like a fucking badass. Just because his quick wit, always getting into trouble or shit like that. And I think a lot of people in my generation really just grew up with The Simpsons as just a catch-all. I mean, I don't think there's any life circumstance that wasn't in The Simpsons somehow in one way or another.
Well, they seem to be predicting the future now, right? Like there's like 30 years of episodes, and so every time something happens, someone goes back to an episode, finds it, and goes, "See, The Simpsons." Like, though they don't realize there's like thousands of hours of,
I know.
Simpsons episodes that like stuff is going to randomly be true, but like, what was it? Richard Branson, like, you wanted to in space, yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think some of it is just really looking to the future, even a little bit, just like kind of understanding where things are going. And I think I don't know, whoever's the writers, they're just geniuses at that. Just like taking a step back and then looking a little bit in the future.
I mean, but the writers have always changed, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing that there's been I mean, do you have a favorite era of Simpsons? Do you still watch The Simpsons?
I haven't in a while. I haven't seen any of the new episodes. Maybe like, I don't know, probably like 2012 and on. I probably haven't.
It's funny how like people like have drifted away. Like like, I wouldn't let my kids sit and watch The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just if there was any underpinning of like a show that worked for kids on one level and adults on another, back in like the 90s and early 2000s, but now, like, no way. I mean, it's like that is an adult show, like, through and through.
Yeah.
So are you doing other creative stuff right now? I mean, are you still like fulfilling that creative need?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I do it through work a little bit. So, I do have some of that. I do have like some passion projects that I've been working on a while. I just haven't really fully realized them yet. So I've been kind of working on like homemade synthesizers for a few years. I actually started that a long time ago. Just like,
Are you serious?
yeah. I took a, let's see.
How do you make a homemade synthesizer?
Yeah. So like I made this synthesizers from a few different kits. I put it together. It's super fucking annoying, but I love it.
How long does that take? And then what? Do you just sit there with the knobs, like?
Yeah, it's super obnoxious, like really like loud and like nasty sounds.
Wow, that sounds like something I would totally be into, and then my wife would yell at me for.
Yeah,
like, exactly, stop that! Take that outside.
That's exactly what happens.
Wow. And so I guess you've been on, we'll call it a hiatus for a while.
Yeah.
When was the last Simpsons release?
I don't even know.
Because I remember asking you, like, dude, do you want to make another run for us? And you're like, and you did one begrudgingly. we did like the Ron English one, and then you're kind of like, no, this is too much work. I mean, are you gonna ever come back to it?
I want to. I really do. Yeah, and I want to say thank you for that too, because I love Ron English. I've loved his work for a long time, and it was kind of like a full circle, like, being able to kind of work with him. I never talked to him, so it's kind of weird having a collaboration with somebody. But that was really cool. I think the last one I did was like 2018, but I do want to keep making them. Actually, this is something I've been working on for a few years. It is there, like I haven't actually casted it, but I was working with a different, few different artists to help me cast it. I just haven't been able to like actually put the time into and try to figure out like if anybody wants to like cast stuff for me. That'd be awesome. But yeah,
I know people that could do that. Call me.
I will.
So I don't know, like, what's next?
I kind of want to go back to school, try to get a master's degree in marketing or something.
In marketing.
Marketing. Oh.
Wow. And so how do you balance like the need for like being creative and then doing a job like that, that is, I mean, is it just strictly just like the finances? Like this is something that's gonna make me money?
It is, and I do like it. I do like creating campaigns and figuring out how to reach people.
Mhm,
I think it's fun. I like it. I enjoy it, and I feel like it would pay the bills and kind of lead me to a lifestyle that I want to live.
mhm.
I would ideally like to do that with the creative work, but it's so much work and it takes so much out of me. And I think that's why I kind of stepped away even from like Instagram and from social media, just because I feel like I'm naturally like a really I don't know, anxious person. So there's something about like making something and then shipping it out that I
Mhm.
felt like, I don't know, it took out so much of me, like physically, emotionally, like mentally. I don't know. I probably have some sort of psychological problems. But
No, I think that's the hardest part about being a creative person. Like, I mean, actually, like sitting down and writing a book, right? That's daunting, and trying to put the words together and have it edited and get to the point where like there's a cohesive story that someone could sit and read, right? But then there's actually putting it out there, painting a painting and putting it in a gallery, and people are going to walk by and like judge it.
mhm,
Like they're going to have an opinion, and there's going to people that are going to be like, this is garbage.
yeah,
There's like, there are people that it's just, it's like, and then how many, what percentage of people are is acceptable for you to resonate with, you know
I don't want to
ah
say hi.
hi. This is what happens when we start talking about depressing shit. You bring it, you bring in the fucking dog.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's a lot of that too, and I feel like that's it goes par for the course, at least in the resin world. I feel like everyone wants to make a name for themselves and kind of stand out, and sometimes there's like shit talking, but I don't know. I don't really like to like go into that or like really like I don't know, engage in that just because it does take so much out of me. Yeah.
But I mean, I get that if someone paints a painting, makes a movie, writes a book, like there's going to be, creates a piece of music, that's worse. I mean, there's, think of like how many artists are out there who are like well respected and make a lot of money that you would never listen to,
Mhm.
right? You're like, ugh, like that, it's like, whatever it is, it's like, everyone's got their taste in music. And you go like, hey, what do you think of the Bee Gees? It's like, oh, that fucking disco, like fuck,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, but they've sold like, up until, Michael Jackson, they had sold the most albums like ever. Do you know what I mean? And it's like people are, it's really sort of like divided. But for you, you were putting out editions of toys and they would sell out.
Mhm.
Like people already told you that they loved it. They already voted with their dollars.
Yeah.
Like, well, what happened when you put it in the box and sent it out? You thought that they were going to magically open it and see it. It's like, ah, this is a piece of shit. I want my money back.
No, no, no. I really do appreciate like everyone that supported me, just because again, like it really helped out when I was going to school and everything. So like from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone who supported that. Um, but I don't know. Like I think for me, it wasn't so much that I'm going to be judged as much as it was like, I took 6 7 hours creating something and I'm sending it off. There's something like, I don't know, like just really difficult about that. It's not like a piece of music where you can just upload it and you have it. It's like
Mhm.
it's gone. Like this thing that you like made and created,
You
and
like made your child and then you're
yeah,
giving your child away to somebody.
that's what it felt like. And it's really not like rational, just
Mhm.
because it's a toy. It's not like a living thing, but it really did feel like that for me. It's kind
Wow.
of difficult actually sending it out.
Even though you were making multiples, did you make one for yourself?
No, no, I tried that for a little bit. I tried to keep it.
Yeah.
I keep like one version of each thing that I made.
Mhm.
But then someone would always hit me up like, "Hey, do you have an extra one of this?" I missed out for X reason, and it was just always too tempting to say yeah, because again, I needed the money to like pay for my groceries and do all that,
Sure.
have food in my table. So I kind of always said yeah. Yeah, and I have a couple. I mean, I don't have a whole lot, but I do have a couple of them.
Can you show and tell
Yep.
for all the boys and girls?
This is one actually never released. So it's supposed to be like the Mole Man. Never released that one. I'm happy I kept it. A Ron English and a Ooze Boy. The Ron English one.
Nice.
And the Ooze Boy.
Wow. And that's all you have from all of all the figures you released? That's what you get, those 3?
Yeah, I mean, and I have a shit ton of like packaging shit that I never like put out. And say, like, I just have like this ridiculously large box of like stuff that I never actually put out. So this is supposed to be another one, another version that was never put out. But yeah, like just like a huge box of like stuff that I'm never gonna ship out. It's really weird. But yeah.
Oh man. Where's that dog again?
No.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess humans are kind of funny. Like I don't think I think we're less in control of our lives than we think. And, it's like if you were 7 feet tall and you could bounce a ball and you were good at basketball, not many people who feel that way all of a sudden say, I hate basketball, I want to play golf professionally. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you grow up and you can paint and everyone around you says, oh, you should draw, you should do art. Most people don't say, well, I don't want to do that. I want to be in computer sciences, right? But someone who's like really math driven, you know, at least that's what people say. They're like, oh, I love coding. Like it's amazing. Like, and I think we just like it doesn't seem, it seems like we just like what we're good at. If that makes sense. So it's like, I guess if the way you made it sound is that you were about what you loved about marketing. What you ended up saying was all like the creative aspects of it.
Yeah.
Like it was still like a creation to you. And so it's like, if you do it and you can support yourself, then I don't know, you sort of had a smile on your face when you were talking about it.
Yeah. And I think that's, I think that's normal. I mean, and that's pretty common for people to go into what kind of motivates them and drives them.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people, at least for me, I'm in graphic design world. I kind of have like a marketing job right now, and it's
Mhm.
cool and it's fun. But I feel like I don't know, like I'm at a crossroad right now. So I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the rest of my life. I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it definitely has to do with being creative somehow. Like having some sort of creative outlet, some sort of way for me to engage with people. I love people. I love shooting the shit. Like I like just chatting with people once in a while. So I think as long as I have like the community of folks, and then a way for me to be creative, I think I'd be pretty content in life.
That's wonderful. I think most people have no idea what would make them content. And then once they get what they want, they're still miserable.
Yeah.
That
That's
wasn't necessarily a question, but hey. Oh man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm gonna say that when they write the book about the Simpsons bootlegs and the movement, I think you're definitely gonna have one of the biggest chapters, and probably, I think one of the most influential. I think you were, really made a difference for me in what I collect, and I don't. I think your interpretations of Bart and the work that you did with other people were still very unique and different than just about any other group of Simpsons figures that are out there, because there's mashups and there's Bart. Most things are mashups, and I love the mashups. But I think you went down a different road, sort of thematically, like you know, Bart like tripping on acid, and like just it was like it was. I don't know how to describe it. It seems, or maybe you can describe it better. But I mean, I guess I should be asking you, like, was there a goal in the Barts that you created?
No,
Was there
I feel
something you wouldn't do or you would do? Did you have a criteria?
no, I just kind of like went with the flow. There were certain things that was influenced by like things that were out there in the world or mashups. For example, I think the first one that we did was supposed to be like honoring this huge, I don't know, sub genre of bootleg T-shirts. So
Mhm.
like bootleg T-shirts that like and made, I don't know. I felt like they like I would borrow from things that were out there. For example, like the Bad Acid Bart. I think
Mhm.
there was like a newspaper clipping that I saw at one point that somebody like in the 80s or 90s that had like these like LSD stamps that had like Bart on them. So I thought that was funny.
Mhm.
So that's what that was based off of. But mostly the collaborations were like people that were already doing their rendition of Bart and that I really liked.
Mhm.
And I kind of hit them up specifically because of that. So
Mhm.
a lot of them
Yeah,
were actually the brainchild of somebody else. So
it seemed like an overarching kind of like art project, but you were going somewhere. You were talking about a niche of a niche. What
mhm.
were you talking about there? What
uh,
was the niche of the niche?
so the first one was like the black bar,
Mhm.
and I think looking back, I think I probably would have done it differently. Like again, it was like 6 years ago or
Mhm.
something like that when I first
But
did that, and it was really supposed to be honoring like the like the like a subgenre of bootleg bards that turned Bart into like to I don't know, for a group of people to identify with them. I think that's why I would have done it differently, just because I know I'm not black, and I think at that time I was really involved with the Pan African Studies department at UCLA,
Mhm.
um, and I just was really like inspired by them, and I think
Right.
like I just I probably wasn't the best person to like do that. So I think if anything, I probably would have changed that or made it where it was
Mhm.
like Latino instead of a black part. So I think that's something that I probably would have changed.
I think that I see why you're saying that now, and that's sort of like politically correct, and there's a movement that really feels strongly about that, and I understand where that comes from. I think in 10 years you will, I think I think come back around and see it for, I mean, like, allies are allies, it's like, and I and actually representing the black part, because in those t-shirts, right, in the bootleg t-shirts that guy posted on Instagram, and it was literally like one or two new t-shirt designs every day, right? A huge portion of them were Bart with different ethnicities,
Yeah.
right? Like people seeing themselves in Bart, and not only that, like wanting Bart to look like themselves. I mean, there was Rastafarian Bart, there was just all of, and these Bart t-shirts from other countries, right?
Hmm.
I mean, Bart, I guess, was supposed to be this like suburban white kid, but it was yellow. I'm not sure what culturally that meant, because there were black people in Simpsons too. So the yellow people are supposed to be white, right? It's not like everyone was yellow, like it's
Yeah.
this race of yellow people. But I don't know. I
Yeah. And
what are, I know, what do I know? I'm just like some white dude, right? I don't think you should be ashamed of that. I think that's an important movement, and I think the way that it's represented in your work, um, I think you will look back on that and see like that it was an important contribution. Um,
yeah, and that's what we try to do, and that's what the idea was behind it.
mhm,
And yeah, again, like I think Bart just spoke to so many people, and it was like really, like ubiquitous, and everyone wanted to like identify with Bart. And again, like I think that that there was like a need or a desire for like you said, folks to like see themselves in
Sure.
something like that.
But look, it's not too late. Like you can still make a Latino Bart.
You know, there's some folks that did it out there. Was a DCA, I think, did one that was pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think I have that one. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to do one that was sort of positive, like that wasn't like a low rider or didn't have like a sombrero kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it was like a Latino Bart that was just didn't. I don't know how to say it. Like just didn't use those kind of like those cultural tropes that are kind of I don't know
No, yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah, no, for sure. And I think going to collectors, and I think somebody had made a comment. That's what collectors are.
Mhm.
Like I'm a collector through and through. This is like a really small portion of what I used to have, just
Mhm.
because we moved here to Santa Cruz a few years ago, and
Mhm.
like the place is super tiny. Like literally, this is my office, and that's a kitchen, and that's the living room. But yeah, I had to get rid of a lot of stuff. But I think one of my favorite toy lines ever
Mhm.
was the Bronze Bombers, and I think it was because of that. It was this woman who's now a professor somewhere, I think in the East Coast,
Mhm.
and she wanted to have something that was positive that her kids can like kind of look up to and emulate. So there was
Right.
like this whole line of like black and brown, like they were like GI Joe types,
Mhm.
and like their whole backstory was like they went to MIT, or they were like
Nice.
they're like they studied and got like these really, really high doctoral degrees, and they
Mhm.
contributed that way. So it's really cool, and it's there's a lot of things that I can kind of use as reference to do
Mhm.
in the future. But yeah, maybe like I'll come back in the game at some point. I really do want to. Just like right now, it's just kind of hard to do that.
Whenever you're ready, we're here to help.
Thank you, appreciate that.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you for your contribution. I think you've done great work, and just thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Dev. I really appreciate it. And again, like y'all are awesome, and keep doing the work that you do.
You too. Good luck with everything.
All right, take care.
All right. Take care, man. So cool.